What's up guys, it's your boy Hulk Norris back with another Forts tutorial. Today we're going to be doing an overlook on frame rate drops and how to fix it once you realize you've had that problem on one of your maps. I'm going to be using one of my recent custom forges, Twinplex, for a quick example and a quick walkthrough on how to fix it. The first thing you want to do is actually establish that you have frame rate problems. See, right now we're outside of the map where no real player is going to ever be, but you'll notice that once you're looking at the full map and reading all of the data on the map that we're definitely having some performance issues. So what you want to do is actually creep into where the playable boundary is going to be. And if you notice right here, this is going to be their furthest wall, the absolute farthest point where a player can actually be, and might establish some frame rate issues. But once you actually go inside of the playable area and look around, you realize that the performance issues have pretty much gone completely away. There is no longer any red spike coming up, not really having any problems with it, and so it makes things a whole lot smoother. But once you've done that and you've gone around the entire playable area of your map and you realize you still have some frame rate issues, you might want to start checking and see if you have any extra pieces, especially if you're building a symmetrical map, and do something that I like to do and use other objects as kind of like spacers and kind of figure out your spacing so everything around your map is exactly spaced right and it's all the same, especially if you're doing like a competitive symmetrical style map. So you definitely want to go around and clean up any extra pieces that you might have hiding or laying around or underneath your map from spacing stuff out. Another thing that you might want to do if you still appear to have frame rate issues, and it's something that a lot of us use, is like, for example, the tower 3 stories. It gives you a clean flat area as like a building block, and a lot of people use it just because it's something different and it doesn't have that solid line going down in like your normal building blocks. The only problem with it is since it's such a big object, it eats up a lot of the data. And so instead of using one of those, after you've gone around and you still have frame rate issues, go into any spots where you might have one of these placed and just simply swap it out with a building block. That's the only thing that's really going to improve your map a ton when it comes to the frame rate, is just get rid of some of the bigger pieces that are going to eat up some of the bigger data. And then another thing that'll really help you out on your maps when it comes to frame rate, especially in spots that are going to have a lot of eyesight and are very big focal points of your map, you definitely want to make sure you're not doing a lot of crowding or object grouping and just creating a lot of data. For example, in the main part, like your middle of your map, you definitely want to keep your middle a little bit cleaner and a little bit simpler, because that's where more of the eyes are going to be at more times. Another thing that'll help you out a ton too is I guess you'd say, mapping your map before you even start forging it. For example, if you're going to do like a bigger team style map and you're actually going to build like a natural terrain style map, for example, if you're going to do something like coagulation, where it's going to be a long valley with a long line of sight, and it's got like 2 bases on each end of it, definitely think about that and think about all the sights, because the longer the line of the sight is, the more data you're going to have and the more chances you're going to have for frame rate drops. So for example, what you might want to do is take another one and then build more like an S shape, especially if you're going to be stacking stuff up and making the rocks look more realistic and whatnot. You definitely want to go more along the line of an S shape, for example, just because like you're going to have your 2 bases set separately apart and you're not going to have all your data collected up in one long line of sight, where you're definitely going to encounter some frame rate drops for sure, especially if you're going to make it very aesthetically pleasing and put just a whole lot of different trees and environments and buildings and bases and whatnot on your map. You definitely want to make sure you don't have really long line of sights where you're just going to be looking at all the data all the time. You're definitely going to encounter some frame rate drops. But that's about it for us today, guys. Make sure if you found the video helpful and enjoyed it that you Hulk smash that like and subscribe button. But till next time, keep it real, keep it classy, and make sure you guys are having fun.